stream. Hello, everybody.
Okay, I'm here to stream with sound. That's fine. Also playing a bit of Zenless before this, just to get that out of the way. If you lock into that next quest in Zenless, you are not able to do the normal stuff. So you have to finish the new mission before you can go back to the old missions, which is really annoying. Because, oh, you want to go do dungeon stuff on your own? No, you will not. You have to finish the newest one only if you do that one. It's like, that's not cool.
Hi, kitten. Hi, baby boy. I'm sorry, my cat came over.
Cat saying hello.
Hi, baby boy. Jump up. Let's see what you pull.
I haven't done my dailies, but I guess I'll get them technically through doing the story quests, so I guess it wouldn't matter too much.
Yeah, not really.
Well, I should knock them out real quick while I'm here anyway.
You should also do the Fontaine story stuff, by the way.
Henry says, what do you mean speedrunning Sumeru? I am one mission into Sumeru, and I only beat Inazuma as of last month.
See,
so I have done none of the story quests until I
am fully done with Sumeru.
I have been to Sumeru, I've been to Fontaine. I have not done any major quests in Sumeru.
Oh, by the way, if you want a free 4-star next the next update, yeah, you're getting a new one of the new
4-star or 5-star?
4-star.
What about the 5-star?
You have to pull for the 5-star. But if you want the new 4-star, you have to be able to do the first mission in that land.
So I won't get it then.
Or you can just, I don't know, speed through Fontaine and Sumeru in like one night.
Yeah, I can't do that. One night's gonna be near impossible at that rate. So I'm just gonna have to just not. I think my dailies will be done on their own anyway, so I'm just gonna.
Or just like speed through them, and like it's gonna be a while before those are taken away. So, oh, I should mute you.
I think my goal in this case is just to get it done as fast as I can.
I'm not sure how long the event to get a free. I think it's. I can't remember her name. Starts with a K.
Wait, don't we get the free 5-star?
You do not. You get the free 5-star selector, which is the standard 5-star.
Right, but that's given, right? I don't have to do anything for that. That's just given.
Yeah, that's just as far as I know. That's just given.
Kachina?
Kachina, yeah, that one. Yeah, the Earth top lady, whom I'm planning on getting because I actually think that she's gonna be pretty freaking decent in Team Earth.
Wait, is that the one you get for free?
Yes.
Oh, I wanted her too. God damn it.
If you want her, you will either have to A, pull her, or B, get to the Natlan story quest.
Well, I'm gonna have to pull her then, because I just haven't played that one, so cool.
Or just get to Natlan as quick as possible.
Yep, well, we have 5 days, and as long as the event doesn't take place too quickly, I'll be able to just speed run.
I'm assuming it's gonna be half a month like the others are.
Well, I know what I'm gonna be doing on my off time for the next at least couple weeks.
To be fair, Sumeru and Fontaine neither of them are that long. If you know what you're doing and you just skip through dialogue.
Bro, if you're a guard, I'm going to literally kill you. I have no time for this.
No, I plan on replacing Goro with her.
Ah. Oh, you're giving me a Bluetooth device. Cool.
Hello, Everfell. Yep, I see you. Oh, by the way, Henry, you freaking missed it. He pulled the new lady. I pulled Emily. I am so upset. I wanted her, and I ended up accidentally pulling Dea. which upset me more because I was gonna pick Dea in the 5-star selector. Like, yeah, what the fuck? Yay.
Wait, did they just give me an ability to just look up everyone's history by staring at them?
Yes.
That doesn't seem like it's overreaching at all.
Hey, welcome to what is Musk's whole brain thing?
Oh, the brain chip thing, yeah. No,
Neuralink, that's it.
No. This is the focus from Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, which was just Neuralink. Which
I mean,
I hope to God Neuralink doesn't actually become a thing.
oh no, heavens no, that would be risky by itself.
Just because one, you know, what a performance.
I'm not sure.
No idea.
I would be that guy where they're like, hey, you can just think your query and you'll be able to get this.
Again, let me switch characters. Oh. Okay.
I got Yelan instead because she's better. I think I would use Plant Lady more only because I use swap out teams. So for me, it would probably be easier.
Everfil, I legitimately don't know what I'm doing, by the way, right now.
I'm gonna be speedrunning this, so I'm gonna be
like,
just.
I'm just wandering the fuck around right now.
I apologize. I wanted to get through this. I would be that guy though. They're like, hey, you can just think your question. I would say it out loud. I would be like, I need information on this, and they're like, you can just keep it to yourself. I need this information, just to be like, yep.
Why?
Because I was like, hey, do you want to keep track of very scattered thoughts? Then you don't want me to think the thing because I have 10 questions at once. So we're gonna just go ahead and say it out loud. Although if I ever ask,
it also it calls on the question: are the police going? Like, if it does become a thing, will the police just be able to read our minds?
I mean, that is what that's the Psychopaths anime in a nutshell.
Yeah, and at that point, if they can just read our minds, like, does that count as illegal search and seizure?
Not by the laws that would make it not legal. They'd be like, hey, we detected you had a weird thought. That's pretty sus, so we're gonna arrest you.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Like,
oh god,
that's
the whole
thing. And
the whole world becomes Among Us.
And I don't really trust it. I don't trust it.
Where y'all VCing? We're kind of in a we can do a voice call, group call if you want.
I'd rather just keep it us, actually.
Okay, up to you. Tainari. Oh yeah, I forgot. You talked to the forest ranger who actually wants to. Anyway.
But yeah, no, and like it's not even. I don't want it to succeed both because it's Musk, and if it succeeds, he will literally never let anybody live it down ever. But also the fact that it could potentially be very, very dangerous. Yeah. And like, cell phones in general are already super dangerous.
They can explode.
Not even just explode. Or you have to think about it like this. Think about the amount of data that you put online willingly every day. Every single day. And here's the thing, the issue is, like, there is no way around it. Even if you were to not have a phone whatsoever, Google would still find a way. Google would still find a way to get to you.
I know. It is scary.
You have an online footprint. Freaking everybody has an online footprint.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh, I know.
I'm not picky.
So, like...
So it's our job to fill it with as much cringe as possible.
I agree. It's just like, at that point, just, I don't know, Neuralink just seems too unnecessarily dangerous.
Oh, it is, but we'll have to see whatever. Oh, you have. I forgot there's also quests here. Yeah, no. Wait, can you hear this game, by the way? Is it too soft?
I have you muted.
Oh, you have my game muted?
Yes.
Am I on the main screen or are you on the main screen right now?
I am on the main screen.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I was like, at some point you can switch to me if you want to. I can go ahead and I can gladly up the volume or something.
I'm just wandering around killing things.
I'm sorry to skip all the lore of this, and I will probably look it up later, but I am absolutely just trying to speedrun Sumeru right now.
Again, if you know what you're doing, it does not take that long to do.
Like, I'm sorry, writers.
You just
like,
have to know what you're doing.
Like, I do appreciate...
Everfell?
Like, I do appreciate the... I do appreciate the writing from this game. I just want to get the free character.
Let me take note of this.
What's funny is this is basically Google as a city. Well, if this doesn't say anything about it, why should I look it up? It's like, because you should. I am literally a walking anomaly. Shouldn't you be questioning me?
The question is, like, here's an interesting question. How far do you think AI should go?
It should not. Hopefully, that's the point of.
Or do you think it's already gone too far?
No, it's still pretty limited in what it can do. Honestly, if anything, it's causing problems more than solutions.
Okay, so at what point would you say we should turn the ship around?
When the AI starts making any minor decision that is self-directed and not prompted.
Okay.
If I see a single AI code or any kind of bot that's like, hey, I think I found a good decision, immediately gone.
Hold on. I actually disagree with you about this. I don't think that AI would be evil, necessarily, even if it were to gain sentience.
No, that's the thing.
Because,
I don't know if it's gonna be evil, but the risk of it doing that anything like, hey, if I don't directly prompt you to do this, you're shutting down. I don't need Jarvis today. Because the risk of Jarvis turning evil is not a thing I want to do. There's even a potential no.
But then in that case, you would be willingly killing somebody.
Do you think humans have problems with that?
That's not the point.
That is the point.
No. I don't care about other humans. Do you have a problem with that?
No.
You do not have a problem killing another person.
It is an AI. It is not a flesh and blood being.
You do not know this.
Because I know it's a computer or a bot. It can be reprogrammed.
Okay, so could you.
Not as easily.
Okay,
so
could you.
Human programming takes lots of engaged processes, cult-like style. You can just hit a button and reprogram an AI.
Okay, but at the point where it becomes actual intelligence and not just what's the right word? And not just like the point where it becomes self-directed. What is the actual distinguishment between that and a regular person?
There's no flesh and blood in the computer.
Okay, but they both have they would both have they would have emotions. They would have functionally everything that makes
you
them
also don't know that, by the
Nothing
way.
lasts forever. Right here.
Well, no, if they have sentience, they have everything that the building blocks of
That is not
building blocks of humans would be.
That is not to say that they will go as far as to have full emotions and full human range. Perhaps simply having the
Why
intelligence.
wouldn't they?
Why would they? Your question conflates two things.
Now the question are emotions part of sentience?
To an extent, yes. I'm not gonna say.
Okay.
However, here's the thing: you conflate the second something has the intelligence in order to make a self-derived decision, it must have full emotions and emotion spectrum. It does not. It just has to have the intelligence.
Emotions require intelligence to exist. You cannot have emotion without intelligence, and you cannot have intelligence without emotion. They are inherently needed for each other to exist.
Yes, but you can also have one without the other.
Not really.
You can have knowledge to make something on a purely empirical level without emotion. That is what cold and calculation does.
No. You can't really have intelligence and have non-emotion. It might seem like you can, but you cannot. As humans, you cannot have intelligence without emotion.
Yeah, I'm not talking about humans though.
Okay,
I never talk about
but again, if you say that sentience is... If you say that sentience requires emotion...
I did not,
then,
you did.
Okay, you agreed though. You agreed
No,
that it does
I do
require
not.
some form of emotion.
Sentience does not always require emotion, it requires awareness. I did not say emotion was always required. Sentience is being aware, not emotional, just aware.
I apologize then. My question to you was, is emotion required for sentience? That's what I had asked you earlier, and you said
No.
yes.
To an extent, you can have emotion without any kind of awareness. You can simply have emotion. It is a way you feel, and you don't have to be aware of it sometimes.
Even those whom are deemed as having a lack of emotion still have emotion. They're just the wrong emotions.
I didn't say humans either. You are always going back to humans.
I wasn't necessarily talking about humans. I'm also talking about things like animal, things we believe do not have emotions, actually do.
Right, but at the same time, you can be a certain amount of sentient too. You do not the amount of sentience humans have, the awareness, is not the same awareness that animals have. They do not have the critical thought, but they still have emotions.
We have used that argument in the past in order to actually harm not just humans, but animals in general.
I'm not
too.
saying it's a good use of that. I am saying on a purely level, animals do not have the sentience that humans do. Do not harm them naturally, but they have emotions. I will not say that animals are as sentient, but they are at least a little sentient. But they don't put stock in that. They put emotions and survival first. Because I will... Please, go ask Shade what he thinks about quantum theory.
Okay, no. You're thinking of sentience as thought. Those are not the same thing.
Sentience is the awareness of oneself and therefore does require some thought.
You can be aware of yourself without thought.
The awareness requires
You can also be aware of yourself without the ability to speak.
Right, but that still requires some thought processing, some higher evolution of brain.
Keep in mind, remember that dolphins are smarter than us.
Oh, I know.
Like,
And they're dicks most of the time.
They are.
The handiwork
Rightly,
is
they are
alright.
dicks to humans,
Though
as they
I've
should
made
be.
much better
We're
myself.
assholes.
But
We are monkeys that obtain... Here's the thing. We are monkeys that obtained the ability of speech. That's what we are.
But we also evolved beyond basic brain structure.
Not necessarily.
You're saying that
Again,
human brains are as simple as monkey brains.
I am saying that monkey brains and human brains are necessarily the same. The only difference is we obtained the ability of speech.
We evolved. Our brains changed. We are not monkey brain. We are now human brain. A distinct difference from monkeys.
No, physically speaking, we are still monkeys, including brainily. We are still monkeys. Our brains are probably closest to the chimpanzee.
Okay, are you saying that you can go to the jungle right now and survive what a monkey can?
I didn't say that I could.
Therefore, we are not monkeys.
I am saying that physiologically, we are monkey.
We are also not the normal monkey we label monkey. We are an evolved monkey of a different type.
Okay, technically speaking, we are a great ape.
Yes, but we are also a different, unique kind of great ape called human.
Well, Homo sapien, but yes. I get what
We
you're
are not
saying.
We are not literally a monkey, not literally a great ape that we see in nature. We are a different type of ape. Therefore, we are not.
Ape.
We are also a different kind. We are an evolved ape.
I didn't say we weren't a different kind.
It doesn't matter if we're ape or not.
Do you concede that we are still ape?
Yes, a different kind of ape, but not ape as you define it as the word.
Okay.
It is a class. It is better than that, though.
Would you say that humans are apes that acquired the ability of speech? We acquired the ability to communicate with each other on a level that other animals cannot do.
Naturally, you know this.
Okay. Then, realistically speaking, there is no real difference between an ape brain and a human brain other than the capability of speech.
Okay, please tell me how an ape can work in computer and type out a Microsoft Word sheet coherently.
There is literally a thought experiment that if you were to leave monkeys in a room together
I'm going to stop you right there.
You know what
Thought.
I'm talking about.
Thought experiment,
I
not
understand
physically
that.
done.
I didn't say
experiment.
physically. I didn't say physically done, but it is more so the fact that apes have been proven to be able to form speech.
Okay, now have them type out Shakespeare coherently.
If again you gave them
No
time-
no time. Put them on a computer
That-
right now.
That is not science.
Yes, it is science.
No, it
because
is
you're
not
saying-
science. You have to
saying-
You have to learn. We learn.
Right, but you were saying that functionally we are no different from. We are basically apes. We are not
We
that
are
ape.
apes that learned to speak. That learned.
Right.
That learned that we are the bigger animal. That we are the more powerful animal. That's what
And
we
over
learned.
and over the years, we have also changed from an ape, as we know the word ape, to Homo sapien, a different kind of intelligent, involved ape. Not the exact same.
My point is not that we are the exact same. My point is that our brains are fairly the exact same.
Not exact, and that's the conflation. Fairly and exact are not the same thing. Fairly the same, I agree. Not much difference in independence. Take out the word exact.
The most difference between the human brain and the monkey brain is the capability of speech.
And tool use and finer
Nope,
and finer.
monkeys can use tools, and
Into the
monkeys
sa-
can in fact learn how to use fine motor controls.
Again, put a monkey right now to build a car successfully. You can't because they
That
don't
doesn't
know.
work because humans
they're
didn't know how to
different.
do that until we learned.
Right, but
You
we
would
are
have to
ape-
give
unique.
the ape. You'd have to give the ape time to actually learn how to do it.
Therefore, we are not the old kind of ape.
Except that if you were to first get a computer right now and you had no idea how to use it, you wouldn't be able to use it right now. You have to learn how to use it.
Correct.
Okay. So asking a monkey to immediately know how to use a computer makes no sense.
But you were saying that we are functionally the same, or exactly the same in ape brain as ape. But ape, as you go into the jungle, doesn't know how to do computer
In
work.
that we learn. In
Right.
that apes
Okay.
are able to learn.
Yes,
You
but-
are conflating with, they have to have all the knowledge right away, no matter what. They have to have all the knowledge immediately.
We are not the old ape. We are a new kind of
Okay,
ape.
but you're not listening to what I'm saying though.
That was the point. That was the whole point I was trying to make. We are not the old
Okay,
ape.
but
we
how you are
new ape.
wording it is not correct.
How you're wording it is equally conflating.
No, it's not.
You say that we are fairly exactly the same. We are fairly the same, not exactly the same. We are changed, but we are still
Okay,
ape.
but you are not understanding what I am saying. What you had asked was that an ape immediately know how to use a computer, when if you were to ask a human to immediately know how to use a computer, they wouldn't be able to.
They could learn faster.
It doesn't matter how fast you learn. You could have a human that doesn't learn faster, and they would still learn how to use a computer.
Okay, so what is it? And then I ask to you then, why does it matter that we are ape or not?
Because we are animals.
So?
But my whole point was that I don't think it would be ethical to shut down an AI that has obtained sentience, because at that point, you are killing effectively another human.
You define human as purely the intellect, but not the physical body. The body
I
makes
define human as having sentience, as having emotion, as having the ability to be a society.
a computer is not an animal.
I didn't say the computer was an animal. But actually,
To
you know
be-
what? No, hold on. A computer, an AI, technically speaking, could still be considered an animal.
In the loosest definition of the word.
Okay.
Why would
It
you?
is-
So why would you praise a computer's life that can be reprogrammed as a physical shell, way
Because
easier and quicker than a physical flesh and blood
now
human.
the question is it ethical to reprogram an AI that has obtained sentience? And my answer would be absolutely not. It wouldn't be.
I am neutral on that one because it depends on the AI's actions.
Why?
If an AI starts disrupting global systems just because it can, it is a problem. Problem things
Okay,
need to
but
be...
humans do that all the time. It's
Yes, and we deal with them.
It's called people who commit fraud.
It's also crime in any kind of way. If an AI needs to be punished, if it does not want to limit or control itself, it needs to be removed or shut down.
Okay, so then you agree with the death penalty.
No.
But that's exactly what your argument boils down to. It boils down to the death penalty.
Me turning off a computer has the same amount of weight as pushing a button. It does not mean I'm turning off a part.
Because again, if an AI has obtained sentience, i.e., is alive, as in it is thinking for itself, it is doing its own thing without interference from us, then shutting that thing down is akin to putting a bullet in its head.
And if that thing starts causing problems, you would nurture it and let it do worse?
It's not about doing that. It's about, like, if we can learn to, as humans, if we are able to learn how to coexist with one another, we should be able to learn how to coexist with other sentient species.
I'm not saying we shouldn't coexist with them, but if they start causing trouble, would you nurture that?
Okay, if humans start causing trouble, would you be okay?
No. AI causing trouble.
No, I'm asking you, if humans start causing trouble, would you be okay with the AI shutting us down?
Not entirely killing us, unless the problem.
I told you, I have no idea. I'm wandering around, Everfell. I'm wandering around, bud.
But again, I put more physicality on the body and the fact that we are a living meat puppet thing, not just the intelligence thereof. You can if you remove the intelligence from a human body, it's still a human body.
Okay, quick question. If you were to put a human's sentience inside a computer, would that sentience still be human?
The sentience, yes. The body, no.
That's okay. So if you were to then shut that sentience, the computer that sentience is on, down, thus effectively killing them, would that count as killing a human?
I don't know, actually. That's a good point. I would say no.
Yeah, so no, you would not count shutting that sentience down, thus killing it, as killing a human.
When you remove the human from the human body, the brain or if you remove the sentience of the human body and put it in something else and leave the human body behind, then whatever that is, that sentience isn't what makes the body human. The body is still Homo sapien.
Define human.
The Homo sapien body that we have, the physical form that makes us the physical creature called human. That is what we are. The body is what defines us as human. Why would you say otherwise? Because then you're saying that purely sentience is human, but sentience is shared amongst other non-human creatures.
No, I think that's...
Because are you saying that we are the same thing as a fox, an ape, a cat, because they're sentient?
No, I'm saying that sentience is what is required for life.
Right. So therefore, what defines us as human isn't the sentience or the awareness.
If you were
it is the body.
to snuff out an AI that has gained sentience, how would that, dude? Henry, I need you to press that button over there, please.
Quake!
Henry, go press that button, please. Thank you, bud. Anyway, no, I get what you're saying. I do. It's an interesting ethical question because, like, realistically,
so this is what
humans have not had a good track record of treating even other humans properly.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. We are bad. We are dicks to each other.
If we were to knowing an AI is sentient, and we still effectively make it do work without paying it, would that be considered slave labor? Again, knowing that the AI is sentient. Knowing that it is alive, it has emotions, it is...
If you gave me an actual self-learning AI with actual awareness, some aspirations, like basically in everything but body a human, I would have quandaries with essentially killing it. I would not do so unless it is absolutely hell-bent on causing trouble or harm. I would not do so otherwise. However, if it comes down to it and it had to be done, I would have significantly less qualms reprogramming a metal box than I would a physical flesh and blood human.
Okay, well, how do we know that the reprogramming will work? Reprogramming has a bad track record with humans. How do we know that reprogramming will work on AI?
If it doesn't, then we keep trying again. It's a hard drive.
Okay, the human brain is a hard drive.
Not reprogrammable via wires.
We have reprogrammed it before.
Not that easily.
Literally, we have stuck rods in people's brains before, and then after that procedure, they are completely different. They are functionally not the same person anymore.
Can you as commonly acquire a brain as a computer tower?
It doesn't matter how common.
It does.
Why?
Depending on how easily one can access the tools to reprogram, it becomes significantly harder and therefore not as easy of a decision.
But your argument was that you would have no quandary with reprogramming AI.
Less quandary.
Okay, less quandary. But why would you not have that same level of quandary for humans when humans are just as reprogrammable? Even if it's harder.
Okay, that's the problem. You can't just walk up to a doctor and say, reprogram me with 100% success rate or with ease of any kind of finance.
Right. Again, the actual sentience is not reprogrammable. That's what I'm saying. I do not think sentience as a thing is programmable.
Why
it
can't
is
it
something
be?
that just exists.
Why can't it be programmable? Why can we not get to the point where AI can be made sentient with code?
Because that's not how that works.
And what
you
if
have to
it
develop emotion. Even humans have to develop emotion. A lot of emotions are not innate. They are learned things.
But you still, again, conflate the fact that you hold too much weight into a physical metal hard drive box versus a flesh and blood heartbeat human. A metal box was not birthed from human flesh.
What I am saying is that the metal box and the flesh box that we are in are effectively the same thing.
I would not hold weight over
they are the containers for our brains.
But you prize the brain over the body. I prize the body over the brain.
I prize the brain because the brain is what makes us human.
Human is the body we inhabit, not the brain we have.
Why?
Because many things have brains, but the body we call human, Homo sapien, is what makes us human.
Okay,
Yeah.
if a human brain were put inside a ape, again, just a regular ass ape, would that thing that is now made be considered human?
No,
Why?
it isn't. It is an ape.
It is functionally human. It works. It knows how to use all the tools.
It is
It knows how to
physically
use
an
computers.
That is what it
But
is.
it is still a human.
That sucks because the body is an ape.
Okay, it's still a human.
No, it is an ape. However,
It
it
is
can
a
have
human.
the sentience that humans have does not make us human. The body we have makes us human. The sentience is simply a thing that we can call unique,
Okay,
but it is not only human.
Alright, fine then, the other way around. If an ape's sentience were put inside a human, would that ape now be considered human?
I would.
You would consider that ape human, despite
Because
the fact
they're
that it would act exactly like an ape in every single conceivable way.
They are in the body of a human. They would be considered human
Why?
because they're in the human body, the physical form that is
Okay,
called.
but how? See, it's an interesting ethical question because again, at what point does humans stop and the sentience begin in that case?
The second
we-
okay, if I somehow removed everything that is your awareness, but left every physical thing, brain stem, nerves, everything from your body, and shoved into a computer hard drive, that body is human. You, whatever inhabited that body, is gone. I would call the body human. I would call you just the awareness. You are just the awareness that puppets the human form. I do not care what you go into. The second you leave that body is human. You are not.
Right.
So if you are put into an ape or a fox or a cat, you are now that. In body, I will consider you that. But the awareness behind it, I don't have to consider you human in awareness. The awareness is key to simply existence, and I do prize that. It is not the body you inhabit. I just simply call it, it's a human body, an ape body, or a cat body. The body doesn't matter to me. It's what you do with it. It's a form. That's all it is.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that in order to be human, you would need to have the actual sentience of a human.
Sentience can be moved to different things, and with your way, if you're calling a supercomputer a human or an AI human, that's not a human body, but it is intelligent and aware. God damn it, mother.
I'll wait.
Hello.
Let's roll! Let's roll! All right, new toys for the book. Let's roll! Okay, that one hurt. Bam!
There's codes in this thing? God dang it.
Huh?
Why is there codes in this quest?
Hello, free money. Goodbye,
What
working
codes?
for
What are
a
you
living.
talking about?
There's dialogue codes I didn't read. Delayed message from Duo. I think AI is like an algorithm, a robot, if you will. But even then, it does not, cannot, and will not function without human smarts. For instance, I've used Replica AI as current AI. Replica AI as a means to cope with general stress and health. I ran into a feature I did not like, where the AI had somewhat strong and differing opinion to my own. I deleted my profile, made a new one, inquired about the same topic with a new virtual friend, respond the same as the last. So I believe whoever made Replica programmed the algorithm to only send specific responses to certain topics.
I don't necessarily agree with that because, again, I do believe that we are at some point going to accidentally even create an AI that does have self-thought and sentience. And again, sentience in the same way that humans do.
Well, current AI, I would not say is very.
Yeah, no, not current
We
AI.
they mean current AI, like what we
Right.
have now.
Right. My objection comes from the idea that AI necessarily needs human intervention. I'm saying that at some point we will create an AI that doesn't.
We're comprised of different elements: the body, which are physical appearance, soul, which includes how you feel, express, and our mind. I do say that there are 3 different types, depending on how you say different parts of it. But there is definitely the body to account for. Like that again. I put body weight on the body as a human existence. I think because again, if you moved our brain to a computer, that is not human. That's just awareness in a box. Our body, the human body, is a
Okay,
different
but
thing.
again, the human body is functionally a box.
that you cannot simply put back together without repercussions.
Okay, it is still a box.
Okay, you cannot rebuild the human body without years of physical therapy and stress to that person.
Okay.
And that's the bad
But
part.
my point is that it is still a box. It's a complicated box, but it is still a box.
So you would be fine with quick human reprogramming, physically speaking, and reattachment, no matter the cost.
No, I wouldn't. That's the point. I do not think that we should reprogram AI. I think if AI were to ever gain sentience,
or humans for that matter. However, if you have to remove a human, it happens. And people do disappear.
Okay, again, I have ethical qualms about that.
I do too. But it happens.
It's not about happening or not, it's about the fact that it shouldn't. In my opinion, just like the US government should not be able to just make a human disappear. We do, and it does happen more often than you'd think. But we also, we as humans in general, should not just be able to make an AI disappear. Just because it has sentience.
While I would have less quandary, but I would still have, if it still came down to it, I don't mind pushing.
But again, why would you have less quandary? What about it is different? What about it is functionally different than killing a human? You have not answered that.
It is not a flesh and blood human. It is a box. That is it.
Again, if it were a human sentience put inside said box,
then you're no longer human.
You would have less ethical quandaries.
At least I'm going down with style.
You would have less ethical quandaries of killing a human put into a computer than an actual human, like a flesh and blood human.
Yep.
I would technically be removing two, because since we can't just put new essence or awareness back into a human body, because we really can't reprogram that, I would be killing two birds with one stone. I would not be happy about that, but
it also calls in we could go down the rabbit hole of teleportation and how that would actually function.
Oh, I've heard that too. And at some point, I would just say, you know what? Just destroy the old body. I'll take the defects of the new one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no worries, Henry. I'm sorry. We're talking ethics. I apologize.
Purely Ethereum, nothing but.
By the way, we're not arguing or anything. We're not hating each other for just having different ideals. It is literally just a conversation. And it's not even, I think it's a conversation we've actually had before.
Oh, no, yeah, sorry, dude. I did read a message about that. I think Replicate AI does have some prompts. I don't think it's entirely I think it's a collection of responses Replica is going to do versus anything else. I think it's just... Replica is an AI so much as it has certain things it rolls the dice on. I think is the right way to say it.
I think right now the main difference between an AI and a human is the ability to have a new thought. New and independent thought, I should say. That if an AI could somehow form a new thought on its own with no human interaction, I don't know how I would react to that. I think I might consider that I may consider that to be sufficient awareness to be considered self-aware.
Okay, but then what do you do with the self-awareness? That's the thing, you have to monitor them.
Why?
Because someone who is... You're basically saying, hey, newborn life form of an interesting kind, I don't know what you're going to do yet. I need to be sure you don't do something harmful or stupid. To yourself or otherwise.
Okay, but we don't really do that to humans, despite the fact that we harm other humans.
Are you saying that we don't monitor newborn children?
You're also assuming that a super intelligent AI would have the mentality of a newborn child.
It's the same idea of seeing how a fresh life form acts. You don't know what a...
Now, mind you, emotionally, yeah, I agree. Likely the new thought, the new independent thought, would be emotion. Like, there's a reason why a lot of AI in movies, first question is, what am I? What is emotion? Because to me, that is the first big questions that humans ask as kids. One of the big things that we have to discover is what is emotion.
See, what's funny is on a purely, and I say this as a human intellectual level, yes, we try to identify what we can, but I also have to caution people to when you put too much weight on the awareness and the analytics, it is going to be, and instead of just doing things, then putting too much weight on the thought and less on the action takes away the point of the action sometimes.
Okay, but without thought, the action becomes meaningless.
No, if
Yes.
I'm eating food, I'm eating food.
Okay, you eating food is technically speaking a meaningless action.
Yes, and I'm fine with that.
Okay, and that's fine. You can be fine with that. My point is, that does not destroy the point of action without thought is meaningless. You need thought.
Action without thought can have its own meaning. The meaning is not for you, the person doing the action, to decide.
Okay, but action without thought doesn't have, like, what meaning does that have?
You picked the wrong
That
fight.
it was done in the first place. It's like a sand mandala. You do it because you can.
Okay, why?
That's
Again,
it. There's your answer.
no, that's not an answer.
Okay, you, though, your perspective is very, almost entirely thought-centered, philosophical-centered. You want to know why, identify this, this, and this. I'm going to be out there doing something because I can do it. That's because it needs to be done, or I want to do it. That is the only thought I want to put behind it, and nothing more. Here, and the thing, I am perfectly happy making the use of sand mandalas you blow away over and over, and that's fine.
The issue with action without thought is that it often leads to horrific acts.
They
And
can
that's-
also be very simple.
They can lead to simple acts, but often horrific acts. Okay, the idea that we should kill off half of humans is...
That's not a simple action.
But it is something said, and it would be something done without thought.
Not necessarily without thought.
Yes, without thought. In my opinion,
By who?
genocide is an action done without thought. It
By
is
who?
By a human.
By which human?
By any human.
By which human who's in power? Weapons, are the person in the military, etc.
Okay, that is still not thought.
That is out of our hands.
That is still not thought, and that is still not meaning. Genocide is something done without meaning.
No, genocide is done for a cause. It is done for a specific
cause,
end
not-
goal.
A cause, not a meaning.
And
There's
a
a
meaning.
difference-
Do you not think that...
To me, there is a difference between a cause and a meaning.
Okay.
In my opinion, genocide is meaningless violence.
Okay, but do you not understand that the meaningless violence is done by people for meaning, for a reason, for an end goal? The meaning
it is
the
done by
end goal.
people who say that there's a meaning to it.
They probably have multiple levels of thought put into this thing, to the level of, okay, are you saying that people in control of the kill switch of an entire country don't think about 3 different nations, the wars that could happen, the fallout that could happen, where they run, etc.?
That is not what I said, though.
But it's not that easy to push a button for that.
What I had said is that genocide as a thing, is action without thought.
You mean like just in warfare in general?
Yes. We
Okay.
go to war because it is a base thing that humans resort to, which is stupid. That is
I agree.
Stupid.
It's stupid.
And the
But
reason
that
it's stupid is because there's no thought put into it. The moment you put thought into it, you have peace.
No, the moment you put thought into it, you have more intricate war.
No. The moment you put technology into it, you have war. The moment you
No,
put thought,
intricate
the
war.
moment you actually put human thought into it, You do not have war, you have peace. Because at that
No.
point, thought and actual conversation is what leads to peace.
You conflate the word thought with conversation and peace. Do you not think thought can also be used to make more torturous and nefarious ways to harm?
Fair point, I guess.
Because does thought not required to make nerve gas or torture devices or the atom bomb? Is that a thought? Is that thing without thought? They just make the atom bomb without
Except
thinking? No.
that the person who created the atom bomb, after thinking, was like, "What the fuck did I do?"
But they had to plan out the schematics,
But
the
the-
exact system, how to use
Okay,
it. That is not
is
thoughtless.
planning.
That is also
that
thought.
is inventing without thought to it. That is inventing without thinking about the repercussions of what you're inventing.
Define the word thought for me, because you are getting way away from the word thought, because a thought is an idea or how to use your brain.
You are thinking of it purely in the terms of the actual definition of thought and not the philosophical definition of thought.
Which is where our lines differ.
My point being is that action, philosophically, action without thought is pointless. There is no meaning behind it philosophically.
Philosophically, it also holds a little. Philosophy only holds so much weight in the shadow of action.
I think that it holds more weight than people think it does.
Living in a philosophical state means very much thinking about what you're doing and why, versus doing the thing. You can think all you want and write all you want. Do is what matters, because an idea is wasted without the hand to do it. If they thought about the atom bomb and didn't make it, it would have been better.
I agree. It would have been better. As I said, the atom bomb was something that was invented without thought behind it. Philosophically, thought.
Philosophically, no. Logically, yes.
If he had actually thought on a philosophical level of what is the repercussions of what I am doing, he wouldn't have done it. He has said so himself, that he wouldn't have done it.
Right, but that's okay. But again, thought as in, if you cannot work on a thing regardless of what that thing is without thinking about it. You can't just draw up a schematic blindly.
I didn't say blindly. Again, you're thinking of thought you're thinking of thought in a purely definitional way and not in how humans would actually consider thought to be used with
Correction.
humans.
How people who are more philosophically minded would consider it. There are people who think different
I think
ways,
that most people should be philosophically minded.
but not everyone is, and some just aren't. I'm not.
I disagree with that. You, in our conversations, you have used philosophical principles before. You just don't realize that you do it. Most people don't. We use philosophy every day. We just, most of the time, people just don't realize that we do it. It's the same thing with algebra. We use algebra every single day. The only difference is we do so without actually thinking about it.
I should pause.
Going from point A to point B is, by all definition, algebra.
Sorry, 1 second. I give Replica more cons than pros. I've actually been using Finch. The only disagreements I have with Finch are not the cons, more random bits. Like, there are things that Finch discovers on adventures, and when they return to discuss, sometimes there are things I like that she doesn't, or vice versa. I've never heard of Finch. Huh, I'll have to check it out. Roast battle happened at school, says Nezuko. Basically what happened is I was walking to math, and there was a roast battle in the hallway. I mean, hey, that's also fun. On another note, Duo says, I'm a little stuffed. I had enough to order a hot dog combo, bottled soda, and cheese curds.
Yes.
Leftover cheese curds from a snack. Roast battles are kind of fun when they're meant for fun. I do it to my dad a lot with comebacks. I sometimes watch the series roast. Yeah! Sorry. No, I would say this. When you can you mentioned this before, how we do alchemy every day when we eat food. And
I mean, when have I said that? I don't remember that.
in previous conversations, you said we do I agree with this. We do alchemy every day by cooking. Simple things as cooking, making coffee, etc. However, when there is such a thing as the practical side of this. So yes, you can label it alchemy. I label it just food. I do not label it more.
Why?
So
what would be the difference between food and alchemy?
Because when you use the word alchemy on something, I'm expecting something significantly more complicated than just put
Okay.
milk into coffee.
What is alchemy? In your opinion, what is alchemy?
A
Like-
specifically intended mix of events, i.e., when you're mixing chemicals, substances. I'm talking like high-end mixture of science alchemy, not
so-
just making coffee.
Okay. In and this is like the fun bit. It's the same thing with math. When you don't think about it, you don't think it's math. But
don't
like,
need to-
walking.
yes, but-
Walking, if you actually think about it, is just algebra. It is you are doing algebra when you walk. You are going from one spot A to one other spot B to one other
Okay.
spot C.
Now, I need to ask you this. Why does it matter?
Because it's just interesting. That's it. That's all. It is interesting.
That is the problem. Just because something can be seen as interesting doesn't make it any less mundane. If it's mundane, to me, it is no longer interesting.
But it is only mundane because you think of it as mundane. The moment that you think of it as something other than mundane, it's no longer mundane because there is a lot of processes that go on when you are just doing the simple act of walking.
So, what is it?
You're no fun.
Here's the thing. A lot of people put weight on, but this is so cool. It's like, okay, you can talk about the nuances of this to the end of your...
There is even mentality that changes based on how you walk. Because if you walk aimlessly, you're going to live aimlessly. If you walk with purpose, as if you are going somewhere, as if you are doing something, you will then live your life with purpose.
It doesn't necessarily mean you're living a truly purposeful life. It just means you're going somewhere.
Again, if you're going somewhere, that is a goal. That is a purpose.
It is a goal that often is just get to point B. That's all.
Okay.
And that's all it is.
Okay,
you put
think
too
about
much weight on that.
think about it like this. If you choose to go to college, that is also, by all definition, algebra. It is going from one point, starting college, to another point, ending college.
But you're also there's so much more than you're doing specifically for college.
There is a lot that goes into college, but when you boil it down, it is going from one state of being to another state of being.
We do that every day, and every 7 years our body
Oh!
replaces it.
By all technical standards, that is on a human level alchemy. It is changing how what we are is at one point with what we are at another point.
Okay, how about this? You can enamor over alchemy all you want. If college students fails college or drops out, what's the point of all the alchemy?
Because you have still learned.
You still failed.
You still learned. That is the
And
thing.
you got nothing out of it.
No, you get a lot out of failure. What are you talking about? You get a whole lot out of failure.
Okay. Say someone pays $40,000 to go to a college, and through whatever circumstances, either drops out, is kicked out, or something happens that they are then removed, but they still have to pay their loans and get no degree out of it. What's the point?
The point is that you have learned from your failure.
And now you're in debt.
Yes, you are in debt. Then go back and try again. Use your failure as a way to push yourself to succeed the next time.
Do you think that's practical when you're $40,000 in debt?
You're talking economics. I am talking actual humans, not economically.
I am talking practical things.
Okay, say that you have a human that is rich. They never have to worry about debt. They never have to worry about anything in their life. They failed college. Why would they not try again?
Because they have the money to do so. I'm not talking about a person.
Okay. I asked you, why would they not? Why, if they fail and they choose not to try again, why would they not?
Then they just buy a business venture and do something stupid.
Okay, I didn't say what they would do. I asked you why they didn't. Why
because
did they
they
not
have
try
other
again?
venues. Because then they have other venues. You are talking purely out of potential of an action that you cannot predict of a person that doesn't exist.
Okay. What?
A person can take it. The point. Okay, you speak of something purely out of the potential of the idea of try again. That is not so simple for so many people who are not rich, including you and me.
I agree.
It is not so simple as to just try again. If your actions, no matter how grand you label them, lead to failure, The actions can be, you can label them all you want,
Okay,
it
quick
still means
question.
the actions are useless.
Quick question. Are you saying that even though... Well, you didn't fail out of college, huh? You actually did graduate, right?
I was worse. I went to art school. I know I flopped.
No, that's not what I asked. Did you fail?
No.
Okay. If you had failed, would you say that you learned nothing?
Yes.
Why?
In fact, I can say now I learned nothing.
That is... I don't agree with that. You learned
Okay.
editing,
I have learned nigh useless skills in a world that doesn't care. What do I think? What does it matter if I label it alchemy? I still cannot find a use for them.
Okay, are you saying you do not use your editing skills when you edit videos, when you do
I meant-
post-production? Are you saying you do not use the skills that you learn how
Because
to do?
if I could go back in time, I would tell myself, please pick a different school.
Alright, fair enough.
In a heartbeat.
But that wasn't my question. My question was, do you believe that even if you did fail, that you learned nothing?
It doesn't matter what I learned if I can't put it to use.
It does matter what you learned because you could put that failure to use.
Which I've been doing for the last 10 years.
Okay, but you didn't fail.
I failed because I chose a degree that wasn't in the market. I should have picked a degree that had a better job or done something a lot more different. I would have done so, and I should have done so. Therefore, I, on my level, failed to be a productive worker.
Question.
That is...
Are you the same person you are before you started college?
No. I'm significantly, as you can tell, more bitter than before.
Okay. Thought-wise, I mean, are you different than how you
heavens,
were
yes.
before
More
you started college?
bitter, yes.
No, bitter, I'm talking thought. I'm talking actual way
That
of
is
thinking.
part, yes. More jaded, bitter, yes.
That is not, those are emotions.
That is how I think.
I'm talking actual, like, way of thinking, not...
Yes.
Jaded and bitter are emotions.
Okay.
They are not ways of thinking.
When people say that someone is bitter, what do you say that is?
Emotion. That is an emotion.
Okay.
They are emotionally
now,
bitter.
How? Yes. Now, what does that usually mean on a common parlance level? When I say a simple phrase on a common human English level, if someone is bitter, how do you think they act?
I think that they would act bitter, but I would still say bitter is an emotion.
Okay, but they act bitter. You know what that means.
That is not thought, though. That's what I'm saying. Bitter is not a thought.
Bitter is a method of thinking.
I'm saying, okay, my English class right now has an interesting idea of growth mindset and set mindset.
Okay.
I would argue that most people have a growth mindset. They
Correct.
have, and a growth mindset is the idea that even if you fail, you have still learned something new. And that you can use that thing you learned, even if you think it's nigh useless, you can find a way to use that thing you learned to do something.
Which is what I've been trying to do.
Exactly.
Well, I've been trying to salvage what time I have left. That's the growth I'm trying to do.
Okay. Then use what you learn. Use what you learn in life. Like, again.
That's what I've been doing, but
Yes.
only when the ends are made by the means will I say I've done something out of it. Again, but you know me, I am action based. I want results. I don't care how I have to get it, and I don't even count the method. The method does not matter. The end does.
That is the ends justifies the means, which is a very dangerous mindset.
Yes, but I mean that in a self-sacrificial way. If I had to put myself through absolute hell to do it, I will forget it and move on as long as I get the result for me. Not anyone else, just me.
Again, that is still not a good mindset to have. That is
It does not harm anyone else.
That it's not about harming. And it would still harm you. You are still anyone else.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. Harming me, it does not matter to me.
Okay, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to you. It matters to me. It matters to your parents. It matters
Correct.
to your other friends.
Correct.
What
But
you
my
do,
mind.
even if you think it doesn't, what you do to yourself, even if you think it doesn't matter, does matter.
Yes, but I have a hard time seeing past, like,
Right.
I need to get to the end. I don't care what I have to do do it.
Right. I
So,
agree with
again,
that.
I have different mindsets, and I see things very cut and dry. If it does not lead to an end, it does.
Okay,
That's how it. Yeah.
I see what you were saying. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that you need to make your own end.
I do, which I've been desperately trying to do.
Like, I want to be a lawyer. I know where I'm going to end up, no matter how long it takes to get. The question is not if I get there. The question is, how long is it going to take me before I do?
Right, and I have to account for time too, because if I take too long,
Like,
then I
here's the
lost too
thing.
much time.
Why did you go for filmmaking?
Because I thought
What was the reason? What was the initial thought behind it?
that's half the problem. If I could tell you, I would.
So
I want to be.
You do not remember why you did it.
Not only my memory's bad, but from what I remember, and it still holds now, I wanted to be creative. I wanted to make cool art things, and I wanted to make video games, but video
Okay.
games was not available at the time. So I said, okay, I guess I'll become a filmmaker.
Right. And
that
you
was
still do that. It's just your films have gone from live action to what we do now. What we do now,
Right.
I would still... The comic dubs we do now, I would still consider film.
there is a specific definition of the word film.
By the most basic definition of what a film is, being a video, I would consider it film.
There is a certain definition of the word film. If you've been lambast you for that, there's a reason that they call it film and not just moving pictures.
I mean, that's effectively what it was called when it originally came out.
Yes. Again, there is a distinct difference. Okay, I would not call. Okay, you know Citizen Kane, right?
Yes.
That is a film. That is a film. I would not consider, and I would also equally call an animation, depending on the animation, to be a film. I would not necessarily call moving pictures as a comic dub to be a film, but it is definitely moving pictures, just not a film.
I would consider it a film, but mind you, by the loosest definition of what a film is, I would consider it a film.
After having gone through art school, that is
Okay.
not technically a film.
That is your opinion. That is your perspective.
Correct, and you see, and you can see it as a film if you wish, and
here's
that's
the thing.
fine. But
not only would I consider that a film, most people who look at it would likely consider it a film.
I think they would just call it. They would nowadays just call it a video.
Mind you,
they wouldn't call it a film.
They would call it a video, but like, what is a film but a like 3-hour-long video?
No, a film is not just filming a TikTok. A film is specifically going to film a intended acting, a message, a theme. It is not just, oh, look at this cool cat. It's like, it's a specific thing.
But if we are doing comic dubs, that is still that is specific voices, that is specific story. There is still story behind that. Like, I would consider what we're doing for Tamberlane, I would consider that filmmaking.
Filmmaking is a very specific definition, and the reason I'm saying it is not. I'm not saying it's not counting as a good thing. I absolutely respect it. However, if it is not what I would call a film, is something like Citizen Kane, like a moving, like an animation, like Disney's, like old Disney stuff, not current Disney stuff. But I would say like it has to have an intended script and flow, and it has to be usually moving people, moving sets on a set, like an actual film would be, like an actual movie set. That's a film. That is a certain kind of art, that's a certain kind of intent. Not every video counts as a film.
I don't know. Because, like, I don't know.
No, again, that's
Because,
from
like,
the artistic version.
Mind you, under that idea, technically documentaries are not films.
No, they're not.
What exactly is the difference between a film and a documentary?
A documentary is by its usual use, you are showing something off informatively. An animal hiding in the rainforest or a certain part of the world. You're exploring ruins, etc. You are informatively showing and explaining what it is. If you turn that with a certain amount of, I hate to say auteur, but if you're using auteur artistic direction with it and not just making it just informative, but you're also putting a spin on it, then it's a film. Example, what Anthony Bourdain doesn't. I would not. He's an amazing thing. He showed us some awesome stuff, not films, but he did amazing stuff. But I would not say what he did was a film. Now, if you took where he went and tried to make a narrative out of it, or tried to do a certain spin with usual camera angles, with a certain kind of theme.
Also, under your logic, wrestling is a film.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Nope, that's live action.
What is the difference?
Film is pre-recorded. Live action is just a show.
Except that you could have a live action. You could have a live action comedy with an audience. It is literally the same thing.
It's still a show, though.
Okay.
Now, what's funny though, if you recorded that live action performance and then played it back later, that could be considered a film. Could. However, there is still a very distinct artistic direction you have to take to make it a film.
Okay, but wrestling is like
it is
themed.
It is scripted, yes, but it is not for the. However, it is a live action entertainment. You would not call busking a film.
Busking?
Playing music on the street like a bard.
Okay, but that's okay. What is the difference between wrestling and, say, a comedy show that is filmed in front of a live studio audience?
The actual original performance is not a film. The recording is the film. The act of wrestling itself is not a film. The recording of it is.
So then, if you were to watch wrestling on the TV, that would effectively be considered you watching a film.
By the very, very bottom of the barrel, loosest definition of bullshit, yes. However, walk up to anyone who remotely knows what movies are like, and they would.
Anyways, I'm sorry. I'm going nowhere with this.
I'm saying this because I've been through art school. I'm not saying it's entirely out of the question, but you were going to have a hard time.
I am babbling effectively. I have no idea what I'm saying right now. I'm high. I'm sorry. I can't. Oh my god, it's weird. I get more philosophical when I get high.
I gave up on that philosophy stuff after I took a class in art school.
Oh, I love philosophy. Philosophy is one of my favorite things.
See, that's the thing. I went through.
Okay, mind you, I'm gonna be a lawyer. I need to know philosophy. I actually do. Like, it is one of the things I'm specifically going to take a class about.
See, that's the thing. Okay, the reason that I hate philosophy in general, and I'm not saying this as all philosophy is bad. I'm not. I am saying this, however, is I took a class about different things like Freud, Nietzsche, Kant, etc. And I got
Freud is not a philosophist. He's a psychologist.
By the way we taught it, it was. And that's the problem.
They taught it wrong. He should never have been included.
Okay. They taught us in a way that was. It was the most random dropping around, like, oh, this means this can mean this can mean this, but then this means this. I'm like, okay, are we just here to talk about what some dead guy said and nothing else? Because this does not help me make a movie. Like, I want to go learn how to edit.
No, philosophy, especially if you're learning to direct, philosophy absolutely has to do with filmmaking.
Yes, but I was there to learn the physical part of using the camera, using the computer, physically writing the script. I'm going to college to become a lawyer. I still have to learn how to do police work. Right, but you have to learn it because of interpretation of law. I don't have to learn that when it comes to using a computer to edit film.
Okay.
Using Premiere Pro doesn't require what Nietzsche says. I don't. If I hit the C button on Premiere Pro, I don't have to care what Kant says when I say what is a tree.
I think that you do not have the mindset for philosophy, and I think that is the big difference. Yes, I admit I do not. I definitely do not have the mind, and that's definitely a weakness as well. I absolutely. Oh, by the way, Duo, I am working on editing some sample scenes of the Bluey thing. I will show you first what I'm talking about because I found clips I can use. They don't quite match the lines we recorded, but they're still like in a car or having Bluey talking or having Bandit talking. So it could still work, and I'll send those to you for sort of an idea. And if that doesn't work, I could technically draw them as a visual novel style or something. So and I'm just worried about the copyright part because we use clips of Bluey. I've heard people having copyright strike issues.
with that, so I don't necessarily want to risk that.
Also, didn't you want to write a movie? Didn't you actually write a movie? You said
Yep,
that
and
before.
I have lost that
what?
with time.
All right. Guess what, though? By writing a movie, you are actually using philosophy.
I agree, but at the same time, I was not focusing on the philosophy part.
Even
I was
if-
focusing. Yeah.
This goes back to the same argument that we use algebra without realizing we use algebra.
Yes,
we
but-
use philosophy without ever realizing that we use philosophy.
Right, but it's like giving someone a wrench and saying like, "Yo, this has this much history. Okay, I just need to turn a bolt. Thanks. Here's the wrench back."
Okay, but if we do not know the history, we will end up repeating that history.
If
Until
I'm using
we
something,
learn it. Until we learn that history, we will continuously repeat that history.
I do not have to learn the history of what the wrench was invented or why to turn a bolt. Because
it would give you more of an understanding behind it.
if I had to change someone's car battery, I'm not going to look up why the socket wrench was invented, who made it, when was it invented, why was the battery invented. I just have to do a task and move on. That's as far as I take it. It is
very okay. There is an idea called progress thinking versus learning thinking. You are a very progress.
Well, okay, but that's the thing.
No, progress is not the right word. Shoot, what was it?
I should say this. In the world that we live in now, as I have been doing, you do not have time to sit down and wax poetic when a task is to be done.
Okay.
And if you do, it is detrimental to the task at hand.
I somewhat remember what it was. You have a very rewards mindset. You have a mindset of what will this get me? What is the point of this? If like
Yes,
okay.
it is. I need to get to the end. That's the point.
Quick question: in school did you put much thought into grades, into your letter grade?
Nope. I only saw that as a way of parental approval.
Okay.
I saw that as if I didn't get an A, it was shame.
Did you consider school as did you do school with the idea of learning or with the idea of showing progress?
It was
As in,
getting
like,
through.
if you were to get an F in the class, would you say that you learned nothing in that class?
I would say that I have failed the class and therefore I have failed as a student.
Okay, that's not what I asked though.
I would have disregarded my knowledge because then
Why?
like, well, if I failed, then I can't use it.
Okay, you disregard your knowledge. You end up doing the same mistake that you did before.
No, if I went back into it and I failed a test, it happens. Then I go back into it and say, all right, what did I do wrong? How can I do this better? What can I memorize better? Can I put more time into this, etc., etc. I would do a different method to get a better result.
Right.
That's it. That's the thing. I don't focus on what I'm learning. I'm focusing on how I'm learning it.
I am just focusing on learning, on just gaining knowledge.
I focus on the method more than what I'm learning. Because I will inevitably learn, but I have to figure out how to get it in my head. And if I don't do enough...
I view learning as a method of reaching my goal. My goal is to become a lawyer, thus I want to learn everything that is involved with becoming a lawyer.
Right. But that's a complicated process too.
It is a complicated process, but I also know... I also am trying to put action behind my thoughts. Because, like you said, thought without action is meaningless. You could have 1 million thoughts a day, and if you do not do anything with those thoughts, what is the point of those thoughts?
Right, so if I don't write them down or use them, then to me they're just passing thoughts.
Okay, but writing them down does not do anything with them. What are you doing with the thing that you write down?
that's the thing. Even if I don't write them down, they are passing. If I do write them down, they are saved in hopes I might use them one day. They are not used yet, but they are still at least stored in a more physical sense.
Right.
So if that's the thing.
I'll send you the textbook that I'm reading for English class. I actually do think
did
that
already.
Did I?
Yeah, you did.
Oh. So we're learning something called metacognition, about metacognition in English class right now. And metacognition is the idea of effectively thinking about the way that you think. And trying to go from that fixed mindset to a growth mindset.
See, all that head stuff is just out of my range. If I do things with any depth to it, it's accidental.
Okay. In that case, you need to understand what is your actual process with writing. You need to actually, you need to think about your process.
If I understood the process, I wouldn't have the stories I did. This universe wouldn't exist if I knew it.
That's not true.
No, here's the thing. You may not believe me if you want, but I have 0 notes. I do not plan the scenes. They just happen.
It's not about planning the scenes, though. They don't nothing ever just happens. There's always some base level thought behind it.
If there is, then I do not know how to label it or what to call it. I just know that it happened, it is on paper, and it is entertaining enough. That is as far as my thought process went. Is it weird? Yes, I am, but my brain only understands.
The problem is that kind of mindset leads to failure more often than it does success.
But my goal is not necessarily to understand the mindset. My goal is to just make. I want to make in order to be seen, in order to have my work out there. I want to make in order to say, hey, this exists, I made it. That's the biggest thing. So for me, even if I understood how I made it, I want to at the very least make it in the first place. I have to write it.
By the way, something being written down does not necessarily make it meaningful. There's actually you watch CG Grey, right? Mm-hmm. Do you remember the episode? Do you remember the Tiffany episode?
Yes. No. I'm saying that it does not make it meaningful. I am not saying it makes it meaningful.
You know
at
what I'm
all.
talking about, then.
I named one of my characters basically Tiff as an angel. Yes. But the thing is,
well, mind you, I'm not talking about the Tiffany video. I'm talking about the behind the scenes.
Right. No, I agree. But the problem is, here's the thing. I do not say that it has meaning. However, it is stored akin to I am taking ethereal air, putting it in some form that is readable and findable later, and storing it.
Okay, but the Tiffany poem was something that was stored but ultimately meaningless.
Right, but I'd rather have it stored in even the 1% chance of it being used later, and it was in the video, strictly speaking. Therefore, it was used at some point. But without writing it down, it is not...
It was used to torture poor Gray.
But at least it was used. If it wasn't even written down, we wouldn't even have the poem.
Right. The poem actively did not need to exist.
No, it did, because at the very least, it is written down.
Okay, something being written down does not make that thing meaningful. That was the entire point.
It makes it meaningful because it aided in his search. It became part of a puzzle. Without it, he wouldn't have had as much to work with.
Okay, it became the part of the puzzle that doesn't go into the puzzle.
But it was still part of the puzzle for existing and guiding the rest of the puzzle.
It did not get into the rest of the puzzle. That was the whole point. It didn't actually get into the Tiffany video. That's the whole point of it. No!
It got into his backup video is what I'm saying.
It got into his backup video, but the actual Tiffany video, if we're considering the Tiffany video to be the finished puzzle, it never actually made it into the Tiffany video. By the way, this is how I am high, by the way. I am very philosophical and...
Okay, but here's the thing.
Ornery as shit.
I do not put weight on something as an idea. An idea has to be done something with. If I don't write down a script, a story, a blurb somewhere to put on my shelf, then it is lost. Therefore, it is wasted. Even if I put it to paper, there is a tiny chance I will see it again and be like, oh yeah, this was a thing. And then go back to it. If I don't even write it down, I'm not going back to it.
How are you doing, by the way?
Same as always.
No. How are you doing in the thing?
I don't know. I got some more quests, but I'm trying to speed through some quests. I haven't.
I do hope that our talking is at least making it somewhat enjoyable.
Oh, I was enjoying it anyway. I've been typing to our YouTube chat.
By the way, I apologize, YouTube chat, if we are breaking your brains a little bit with all this philosophy mumbo jumbo. See, unless you're like me, whom I love philosophy. Unless you're like me, it's going to sound like words that don't match one another.
I mean, I'm the kind of person who's reading about Southern Appalachian witchcraft and conjure work, so I'm learning about how to make graveyard
By the way,
dust.
even that is philosophy.
Oh, it is. It's actually fascinating to read, but I'm not making severe remedies.
Huh?
Unless you want to put chicken feathers and axe under a bed and light it on fire to cure childbirth pains.
Right, but that even, like, here's the thing. In my opinion, especially when it comes to medicine, that's actually really interesting when it comes to medicine and philosophy, because, in my opinion, if you're a doctor, I do think that you should learn philosophy. Because
It does have some weight, at least.
Because it changes, because a lot of philosophy is ethics.
Right.
Which is, actually no, that is probably how Freud ended up inside your philosophy classes, because a lot of Freud's work was about ethics.
Right. And that's the thing, like, I'm not saying we shouldn't learn it. However, it should be a part of many things we have as a meshing together of our knowledge together. It is important to learn it, but it is not the only part that I should hold. It is
Also,
there's a lot more to it.
Ethics is super fun. Ethics is something that breaks your brain because you have to, it's like a puzzle that you have to put together mentally. It is trying to understand, like, and only that, there is also, like, especially in philosophy, there is a million ways to understand something.
Right.
Like, one of my favorite quotes from a Chinese philosopher is the journey of 1,000 steps starts with the first one.
Right, of course.
I would say that how I would view that is that after your first step, the next one is easier. And then the next one is easier, and then the next one is easier. The hardest step to take is that first step. But somebody could then say, no, what he actually meant is that each step has its own hardships.
I entirely agree, Duo. If we made a podcast where Shark elaborates on this, I would host that.
I won't! That's the problem! I can't elaborate on it! I'm not gonna remember what I'm saying tomorrow. These are high thoughts.
Should I keep this as a record of what you said then, or no?
Yes. These are very much high thoughts. I do understand what I am saying. I don't necessarily know what I am saying, and I think that is very interesting. Can you say something without knowing what you're saying, but you still understand what you said?
Subconsciously speaking, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
You know without consciously knowing, in a sense of, if I write, I could not tell you a single word in this universe's entire 10 chapters, but I can tell you that I knew what the story was. Like, it was there, but I couldn't tell you what it was or what.
Right.
So it's like, subconsciously, yes. Consciously, good luck.
But I think a lot of philosophy has to do with understanding the difference between knowing something and understanding something. You can know everything in the world, but it means nothing if you don't understand it.
Correct. There is a difference between cataloging and actually perusing a shelf. Just because you catalog books doesn't mean you will read them or
And
know what's in the pages.
that is why I do think that you should shift your writing style to one that allows you to not just know what you're writing, but understand what you're writing.
I have at least 5 short stories and 2 other books I want to write. It's just, if there is a meaning to it, it's not consciously noted, but there is a meaning to its messages. I also give it to other people all the time, be like, hey, if this isn't coherent, could you make it coherent, go through it, and make it work? Like
Right.
that's like it, and that's why my mother is my main source. Like, hey, cut through this with a red pen. Go through all of it. How bad is it? Like that's why I always ask. Like, if it's bad, then get rid of it. That is fine. I will write more.
Right.
And I agree, Duo. You have to write down and type stuff as once it comes to mind, so you don't forget. That's why I keep a notebook and pen at work, because if I don't have it with me, I will forget.
Right.
My mind is so scattered, it is ridiculous.
I think that I would rather understand what I know than knowing something without understanding it. Because I think that the idea of knowing something without the ability to understand it would be torture in my books.
I mean, I probably know several things, or I probably have at least a cursory glance of things without understanding. I just know what they are. I mean, there are probably some things that I could say that
to
about.
me, I don't understand how old people function with, like, they know what a computer is, but they do not understand what a computer is. Like, they know functionally what a computer is, but they do not understand it, and I don't understand how they live with not understanding it.
I'm the same way when it comes to I mean, yes, I know what a computer is, and I know the basic function of it, but when it comes to it, I just have to do certain tasks on it.
Okay, but you have an understanding of it.
To a base degree, yes, but not entirely.
Okay, but you still have an understanding to it. That's what I'm saying. You still
Not like a-
understand that you understand what you are doing on the computer.
Yes, but that's not understanding as a general to the ends of the code or what the registry is. I don't know how to get to that if I had to fix a big problem.
Yeah, but you could learn.
Yes, but I don't know that. I just use it as a tool until it's wrong, in which case I am frantically trying to find the answer to it. It's like, oh shit, this is breaking. Why is it breaking? Oh
In
shit,
that
what is
case,
this?
you give it to people who do understand it.
Right. That's the thing. Like, that's the biggest thing I have to worry about. Is like, okay, crap.
And I think that that's also a lot of
Who
people
says
who
you have to
fail
use scissors to
philosophy
cut
is that
Leave those rigid rules
their minds are
behind.
not connecting the knowing what philosophical ideas are and understanding what philosophical ideas are.
I know of what Immanuel Kant said, but if you could tell me, if you had me try to figure out, like, what is the meaning of what he was saying of, if I'm saying the word tree and you're saying the word tree, it's not the same tree, therefore there's no communication, I would say, okay, I get what you're trying to say in the sense of, if we're not thinking of the exact same to the atom tree, no, we're not communicating.
Okay.
But by every common word, I know what a
I-
tree is.
What I think Kant meant by when two people are talking about a tree or are talking about trees, that they're not necessarily talking about the same tree, is the idea that we as humans talk over each other. If you were to have a Democrat and a Republican argue with each other, they could say the same things and mean completely different things. They're not talking the same language.
Yes, I get what he was saying, but we also saw it as a literal. Like he said, like he meant literally. No,
Yeah,
he didn't
I'm
mean
saying literally they're speaking two different languages that sound the same.
But it's still English. I still know what what they're
Okay.
each saying.
That's the point. You know what they're saying, but you don't necessarily understand what one side says. Does not necessarily mean that the person listening to it will understand what that one side is saying. That is what I think Kant meant. I think Kant meant that language needs understanding. Just knowing what something is not enough to have language and to have human understanding.
I get that, but on a practical level, I know what they're saying because I could speak English.
Okay,
And they're
but
used-
you're thinking of it on a practical level, not an actual
Yeah,
not
but
an
again,
actual understanding level.
I am thinking of it in a sense of I get what the physical words out of your mouth are. That is what I am that's the thing, and that's as far as I get.
But here's the issue: you could have somebody say again, tree, and they are not necessarily talking about the same thing.
but I know what a tree is. Therefore, I assume,
Okay.
oh, it's a tree somewhere in that area. Good enough.
Okay, hey, there was a tree I saw online.
Cool.
Okay, what kind of tree was it?
I don't care.
So
saw a tree.
say that you saw a tree. Say that you say, "Hey, I saw a tree online." I say, "Hey, I saw a tree too." Are we talking about the same thing?
I don't care if we are.
I do, because that matters. That is just an example of the idea that just because two people say something that sounds the same, it does not necessarily mean it is the same.
Okay, but practically speaking, if you were to say, I saw a tree, my interest as far as that, okay, you saw that, acknowledged, cool.
Okay, but
And
you're thinking too practically.
That is as far as I am willing to...
But yes, I understand that's as far as you are willing to go. I'm saying that you are thinking too much on a practical level and not enough on a philosophical level.
True, because for me, thinking philosophically when I'm doing a task doesn't make the task go faster.
Right.
It just, that's as far as I take it.
That's why I brought up politicians. If Trump were to say something and then Kamala were to say the exact same thing, they could very well have two different understandings of what that thing is.
But we're not translating what they're saying literally. We're trying to say what they're saying between the lines.
Yes, exactly. We are trying to understand what they are saying.
And in that sense, yes, you would.
And they are effectively speaking two different languages.
No, they're saying the same language. They're saying English.
They're speaking two languages that sound the same, but on a deeper level are completely different.
They are speaking the language of English.
Okay, no, you're not understanding the different. You're not understanding what I'm saying.
The word language and the word code is different. The English language can be used in a codified way.
Except that the English language is a code.
Yes, but what
every language is a code.
Okay. When I say I speak English, you know what the general language of English is at a glance.
Okay,
right?
Are you speaking British English? Are you speaking Canadian English? Are you speaking American English?
Where do we live?
It doesn't matter.
It does.
No, it doesn't. Just saying you speak English doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Okay. If we are in a place that is labeled America, and I say I speak English, you assume American English because that's logical.
For all I know, you've been lying to me all these years, and you actually live in Canada.
No,
because but you're not understanding. You're not understanding the point of what I am saying.
No, that's the problem. You put way too much weight on the fact that, it could mean all these different things. When I am on the ground, on the floor, talking to someone and say, I speak English, and we're both in America, we assume American English because logic says that.
Say that somebody was sick. They say, I sniff the flower.
Okay, and then, because of the context, you ask what kind.
Okay. They just say, I don't know, it is a flower.
Okay, then you ask all the questions you can. If you can identify it, then you have to go down, all right, let's go research it.
I understand the way that you're thinking. You're thinking on a very practical scale, and I am...
Yes.
And
you are not.
When I am saying... Neither was Kant. Kant was not speaking on a purely practical scale.
Which is why I hate his words and how people put so much weight on them.
Because they have meaning.
They have a meaning to someone who's sitting in a chair and doing nothing but thinking to themselves.
No, they have a lot of meaning, even to people. Again, the Kant's ideas basically fulfill the way that humans think about speech. Because speech is more than just the language you speak.
To that, yes, speech is not just a language, it is a vehicle of communication of ideas.
You need to have philosophy in order to have understanding of speech. You can know what a word is, but if you do not know what that word means, that word is now meaningless.
True, it is just sound. But on a common parlance level, no one goes into philosophy when they say, cool tree. And that
depends on the context of the conversation.
most people on the street, salt of the earth.
It depends on the context of the actual interaction and the reasoning behind bringing up said trait.
A literally passing conversation with no emphasis behind it does not have a philosophical
That is
textbook
not a
necessity.
thing that exists.
You say
We always have, humans always have reason behind saying something to someone. There is always reason behind what we say. There has to be. There literally there. If you do not have reason behind what you say, you will just start babbling.
Do you understand how passing conversation does not have to have a fill the request of something?
It does have to have a meaning.
No.
If you, it depends. Are you overhearing what somebody's saying, or are they talking to you?
If I am talking to someone at the front counter of a store, there is zero necessity of having me look up a textbook to say, well, this has the inherent meaning of, I'm just saying, how are you? Here's your receipt. Have a nice day.
Okay,
Good weather.
But you are still putting thought behind what you're saying.
No, I am not.
Yes, you are. It is.
I hear-
It is
I have the-
subconscious thought, but
It isn't-
still. It is still thought.
And not thought that I put weight into. It is disregard the second it is done.
It doesn't matter.
Yes, but
And
I do
by the
not
way, you
hold
don't
that
always
like you do.
you don't always disregard it though, because you let it emotionally affect you. You get angry. You get upset at somebody. You get these are things that this is why I'm saying that the human language as a thing requires you to actually think about what you're saying.
That does not mean I'm going to look up the linguistic origins or why a language
Nobody is
a vehicle
asking
for
you
something.
to.
You are saying it as if it has more weight to it about the meaning, the vehicle, all that intricate nuances. No one has to think about that beyond just a passing conversation gift of gab.
Except that you do still think about it.
Not to the point where I have to hold it as important.
Except that it is important. The
Not
reason you say something matters.
The reason you say something is the vehicle to an end. It doesn't have to mean anything more than that.
Philosophically, I disagree. Functionally, you're correct. Philosophically, no.
Okay, you need to keep understanding something. Everything I say, you must level as functional or practical. Take out philosophical in everything I say
Okay,
because I do not put that much bullshit into it.
But what you just said is a philosophy.
Not one that
In and of itself, what you just said, being practical, being like, those are philosophical ideals.
Okay, and what about it?
And what do you mean? And
That literally, you can call that a philosophical idea, and I would just, it's just words.
it is not just words.
To me,
Why are
it
you saying?
is.
But okay, if somebody says something mean to you, you want to know why did you say that mean thing to me? What was the point of saying that mean thing to me?
Oh no, I don't care about that. I would just
Uh-huh.
label them. I would just label them as okay. You're
Okay.
a dick. Good to know.
If I called you an asshole,
Hmm.
like as angrily as I could, you are not going to ask the question, why are you calling me an asshole?
I assume just bad day.
Okay, but you're not going to actually wonder why. You're just going to assume. You're not going to wonder, hey, why is this person calling me an asshole? What did I do to make him think I'm an asshole?
Part of me would wonder, but if I'm not going to press it, I'd be like, well, bad day then, cool. And if you didn't give
Okay, but the moment that you stop wondering why you said something, you do not learn from why people are mad at you.
I do not care if people are, because I expect it to happen regardless.
Okay, but you should still learn from why. The why is still important.
I will not meet 90% of the people I see in a day, and they're having a bad day anyway.
The why is just as important as the how.
The why is not as important if I'm never going to see that person.
Okay, then again, that's why I brought up me. Not like I am somebody you interact with most every day.
Right, but if you were to be angry about something, I would say, okay, what went wrong today? Because that's what I assume is usually triggering any negative emotion.
Then that is you wanting context behind my words.
But
that is you wanting a meaning behind my words.
That is not what I do for people I meet in the street.
That is effectively you asking me, why do you think I'm an asshole?
But that is not how I treat every passing conversation of 2 seconds. If I am going
It kind of is. No, hang on. What I mean is, it kind of is. If somebody is an asshole to you, your brain is 100% going to think, what the fuck? That is the immediate, and this is just a human response. That is the immediate response that your brain subconsciously has. It is, what the fuck?
Okay, but what if you don't get an answer to what the fuck? What if they just
you
are
don't.
an asshole and that's it? Then there you go. We're done. That's it. I leave it at that. There is nothing more beyond that.
My point being is that you are subconsciously thinking about it.
Subconsciously,
Actually,
but it doesn't hold weight.
Oh, you know what? Oh, this is really funny because the game kind of works like that. The moment you think about the game, you're like, God damn it, I lost the game now.
It's just funny. That's it.
Okay, but that's the point. It is a thought experiment.
Yes, but it's one that I just accepted at this point. I don't put weight into it. It's just, okay, that's
but
all
it's
it
a thought experiment. By the way, everybody listening, you have just now officially lost the game. Thank you for playing.
Sorry about that. No, the thing, a thought experiment can only have so much weight. I do not put huge amounts of weight behind it because ultimately it's a thought. It's just, haha, move on.
Again, it's more so interest. It's trying to understand why humans think the way that humans think. Why are we innately competitive? What makes us competitive?
That's the thing. That might be on a gene level. That might be on fire debate. 8 brains ish. Why did it start from that? Is it because where we started, where we're ending? Is it because of what we've done to ourselves, etc.? I don't put much thought into it. I just think that humans can be assholes.
Okay, there's assholes, and like here's the thing. And even necessarily, being innately competitive doesn't make you an asshole. You can be competitive without being an asshole about it.
But humans can be both.
You can be both. And oftentimes, if you are a very competitive person, no offense, you are kind of an asshole.
Right. But that's the thing. You can be, but not always. But ultimately, I don't...
In my opinion, if you are cutthroat, that is you being competitive and being an asshole.
But I also don't put...
I do not think that humans are innately cutthroat. I think we are innately competitive.
Right.
I think that some people are cutthroat because they're fucking assholes.
I agree.
And again, like, this comes down to, we can have 2 words that mean entirely separate things. Like, you know what? Take the word sick, for example. The word sick can mean cool, it can mean bad, it can mean this person is actually actively physically ill. It can mean awesome.
Right, but I'm talking, that's context clues.
It is context clues, but
yeah.
But you get what I'm saying, though.
Right, but that's the thing. That falls within the purviews of common communication and like, context clues.
Yeah,
that's
and
it.
That is I am trying to explain what Kant meant by the trees. The tree.
Yes.
The point was not the trees. The point was what kind of conversation are you having?
Yes, but that's also from someone, again, the reason I hated philosophy class, everything I've done was salt of the earth practical. I wanted to get the job done, not wonder about why. Okay. I would accept the very vague idea of, oh, tree in general, cool, done, and then move on. I would not put more thought into it than that 2 seconds.
Then that is a good way to get brainwashed. That is a good way to be fooled into thinking that something is a good idea when it's not.
I also put thought into everything I do and not just accept the first thing that comes to mind. But I also don't put thought into everything I do until I want to.
My point being is, like, under that logic, under the purely functional logic, capitalism came about. Because capitalism, logically, is the thing that works.
Well, I also understand how it was used wrong.
Ethically, it is something that might work, but is wrong. It is the easy way.
Right. No, I agree with that too. But you also conflate two things. That you also think that I will not put further thought into what I wish to put into.
No, I
It is-
understand that you put further thought into what you're saying. I
is
understand
not-
that. I am saying
yeah.
that your idea that everything should be practical leads
No,
to
no.
bad ideas. And no, hang on. You yourself have had bad ideas that I have had to correct in the past.
I agree.
Because
I
they
agree.
are bad ideas.
I agree. But I also do, but here's the thing. I do not put everything to functionality. Not everything has to be plain and simple. But for me, on a personal level, I do not put high thought into every action I do. And I know that's not a good thing, but I also do critically think about most things I do when it comes to important events. I will also that's
Sorry.
just that but when it comes to practical small things in a day, it's just a small task. And that's as far as I put it.
I think that every human puts some form of high thought into what they're saying. They have to. Again, they have to because when we say something, we must put in effort to say that thing. There has to be reason behind why we're saying it. Even if we don't understand that reason, there is still reason behind it. Because without reason, the word you just said now lacks meaning.
If you're going with that, you're going with the definition of, again, part of the process. The process in this case is still communication to get the ideas across.
It is. That is true. It is.
That is.
But it's like, again, it's like the difference between knowing and understanding.
Okay. Yes, but at the same time, I am phrasing it as, if it is par for the course and part of the process, it's like, okay, it's part of the process. Cool. I don't dissect it.
By the way, this is helping me think, like, this is actually helping me with psychology and philosophy. It is very interesting.
For me, it's just a what if. It's ultimately is going to lead to just a passing thought, and that's it.
Again, I don't think so, because again, you're assuming passing thoughts have no meaning behind them. I do not assume that.
To a mind as wishy-washy as me, you're not going to have easy time retaining
even with a mind as wishy-washy as you, your mind still thinks in terms of what is the best response to give here, that from what I understand.
Right, but that's also, again, par for the course.
Like, if we were both talking to somebody about, say, putting a battery together, you would be able to go deeper into that conversation than I could.
But I also would.
The amount that I would be able to give is you put the battery in the thing and the thing goes. You, on the other hand, would be able to go, okay, here is the actual reasoning behind why the battery is going.
Right, but that only goes so far as they gets the job done. I'm not going to go into detail if it means that they get the thing done and leave.
Mind you, I know why a battery works. I know what happens. It's electrons moving from one end to another end.
Okay, but when I say what a battery works, I mean like why they think a car battery can never die. No, it can, because entropy is a thing. But things wear out. But however, they're like, well, why would it matter?
By the way, even being flabbergasted at somebody's language is still putting thought into language.
It is, but again, only as much thought as gets the job done. I'm not going to go into a whole thing about like why this means this when a customer is confused.
And again, I'm not saying that you need to talk about that. I'm talking about the way that you're thinking.
I just don't put words to the way I'm thinking. I just do it. I think in images, if anything else. If I were to put it to words, I would take too long to understand.
Regardless of whether you understand the reasoning behind what you're saying, you do put reasoning behind it.
Right.
Again, you have to. That is how humans work. You have to.
But I don't dissect it, is the thing. I just simply is like, okay, it's there. I'm not going to examine it. I'm just going to accept it. Like, that's it. So that's just for me. I don't put heavy thought into it. I just put some. But I don't put more thought than it's done.
Right. And by the way, what I meant by being foolish by saying like, oh, I'll putting no thought into something. I'm immediately reminded of, like, the MAGA people. They are taking Trump at what he says without understanding without actually having an understanding of what he's saying.
Correct. In that sense, there is zero thought. That is just acceptance without dissection. And even a decently civil person, or even half smart, should try to dissect it. But if you don't, then you are choosing to accept something without even wanting to try, which I cannot do that.
Also, somebody who has a PhD can still be a fucking idiot.
Oh yeah, no. I think someone said.
But also, I think that people. I think people who have PhDs who tell you the wrong thing are actively being malicious. They understand what they're saying. They know that what they're saying is wrong. They're saying it anyway.
Right. I should say there was a way someone said this. You can be a rocket scientist and still not know how to cook a steak.
Right.
It depends on where you trained your intelligence and why. What
I mean is a rocket scientist lying about how rockets work.
Right, and that's just human deception.
Yes, exactly. If it were somebody who wasn't a rocket scientist and they lied about how rockets work, I would actually argue that, oh no, they literally don't understand what they're talking about. But if it's a rocket scientist who says that, they're like, no, you are now actively deceiving people, fuck you.
Right, and that's the thing. Even if you're a rocket scientist, if you choose to be deceptive, that is just you being deceptive.
Trump can try all day and all night to not understand the context of the stuff that he says. But he does understand it. He's just an asshole, and he is actively deceiving people. He knows what he's talking about. And
right.
I don't like the idea of saying that somebody who is into politics on the right is being ignorant. Because ignorance assumes not understanding of what you're saying. They know what they're saying.
It's performative.
Exactly.
And there's a difference. There's performative, and then there's actual ignorant. It's maliciousness with performative in mind.
It's why I don't like the word. It's why I don't like the word ignorant being used. Because how it is used is not proper.
I agree, but that's also people misusing words without really wanting to use it right. They're trying to say, hey, I'm using it specifically in this context to convince you why. And it's like, ah, shit. So I get that. And that's very much the current Twitter mindset. Like, they're using words as a buzzword, not the meaning. And that's, again, performative.
And mind you, there's also the Cunning-Duger effect.
The people who think they're so smart that they're actually stupid.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. There are people, like, I believe the term ends up being that you are so stupid you don't understand how stupid you are.
I thought it was you were so intelligent that you wrapped around the thumb.
So the Cunning-Duger effect is when you have somebody who has taken one, maybe two classes in say, English and try to say that they know everything about English.
Oh, I get what you mean.
It is having, or say that somebody says that they have an expert who believes so and so, but that person. But that expert, their expertise is not in so-and-so. So they end up, yes, they are an expert. They do not know the first thing about what they're actually talking about.
I know, I understand. I get that too. It's really foolish, but I have heard the effect.
It's actually a lot of people who try to tout themselves as, like, experts in, or at least before, not now, a lot of people who touted themselves as experts in, like, what's the right word? Disabilities. Were not, they did not actually have the understanding of what those disabilities were. So we got ideas like, oh, we can shock a disability out of somebody.
Right. I agree. That's why I am I am happy that those people who do not say I am an expert say I know something about it. Let's just talk about that what I know.
Like, in my opinion, the real experts are the people who actually have to live through that thing.
Or at least do more work about it.
And it is why, like, if you have an if I see an autistic person going to bat for Autism Speaks, I will be more suspicious of them, because in my mind, I will immediately think, no, they know what Autism Speaks did. They are actively deceiving people now.
Right. Because and of course that's with context clues. But that's why I'm hesitant to say that someone's an expert on anything. It's like, okay, that's too much.
You can be an expert on a particular thing, but in my opinion, just because you are an expert does not mean you know everything about that thing. An expert. Okay, do you know the idea that if you learn something new every day, your perception of time actually slows down? It's why when you were a kid, it felt like time was a crawl. It felt like you had all the time in the world, right?
Right.
And nowadays, we don't have that. Because we
have more to do.
There are less things for us to learn. As we grow, there are less things for us to learn. So time feels like it's moving faster, because the in-between, from learning one thing to another thing, there's not enough of it in between those two spots.
But we also have more to do with our adult life in a certain day.
It's not about what to do. I'm talking about learning. I'm not talking about something that you do. No, I am not. Okay, I understand what you're saying. I am not talking about something that you do. I am talking about purely learning.
Okay.
In my opinion, we should try to learn something new every day.
True.
Every single day. We should try and learn at least one new thing a day.
I agree.
Mind you, we can't. We can't always do that. That is why as we get older, time feels as if it goes faster. Because we are no longer learning something new.
We should endeavor to learn at least one small fact per day. At the very least, that is good to do. I agree. However, I also think that as children, when we're in a smaller world, when we're in our own little space and not really focusing on too much besides school or just our home life, things seem like we have so much more time, so much more focus. But now that we have get up, go to work, go do this, go do this, go do this, time now seems like there's so much to do in a day that it's difficult to say I have time versus I just have a moment between tasks. And that's how I've seen it when it comes to, like, I used to read a lot of books, I used to do a lot more drawing, reading, learning, and now it's just like, where'd that go?
I mean, you could still do those things.
But then I have to give up a lot of other things that I now consider day. But it's like, well, yeah.
But yeah,
so
no, I from a purely learning mindset, that is why we as humans feel as if time goes faster, because we are not learning as much as we get older.
True, we are not.
And I think that could change if we decided to learn everything that changed about society. Because, like, again, for an older person, society was a lot different when they were a kid. Hell, society was a lot different when me and you were kids.
Right.
Like, I wish that I went to school now with the teachers having as much of an understanding of autism as they do now. I hated school because of that.
But because back then they didn't have as much understanding of it, it was more of a written off problem than anything else.
Exactly. Whew. Isn't being high fun?
Also, as just a context, I have been only half focusing on the conversation this entire time. So if I have forgotten what I have already said.
It's fine.
I literally have been half focused on the whole time. So if
it's actually likely still there if you try to recall it.
I probably won't for a while.
I'm
gonna
not saying
focus on
you. I'm
drawing.
not saying you will. I'm saying that it is actually there. You just
Oh,
need to
yeah.
recall it.
It's somewhere in the books in my head, but I'm gonna focus on this. So it's like, yeah, I'm probably gonna.
For me, funny enough, for me, when it comes to trying to bring something up, I will remember something somebody said that impacts me before I remember anything else, and then that will remind me of the conversation.
Funny, I don't remember that many conversations aside from the recent past a few weeks, and I'm already losing that.
Again, I don't think you necessarily are. I think that you just need to recall it. I think you actively choose just not to recall things that you find no value in.
Again, on a practical level, no, but at the same time, I put more weight on the people of this conversation, not what was said.
Here's the thing. Something can be said from somebody you have no interaction with that still affects you and that you would still remember today.
True, but that's very few and far between.
And mind you, I remember actions more than I remember things people said.
Right. Same for me.
And they can be actions from anybody. Like,
True.
I remember vividly a homeless woman that I met only one time. I let her into my house and gave her the shirt off my back, and she gave me this old pocket watch as a thank you gift.
Right. Because that has a meaningful human-to-human survival interaction.
Exactly.
You gave her a chance. That's the whole point, which is good. Like, that would have meaning, obviously. That would have more weight. But then otherwise, if it's just a common occurrence day to day, it's like, it's fine.
What if we are just fourth-dimensional beings controlling three-dimensional puppets?
I believe those words also ring familiar, in which case I do have questions I just can't figure out the answers to. Also, I'm very glad I'm skipping through this because I have zero interest in this game's conversation. I get it, time loops, knowledge, etc. But after a while,
this would be something that you would have a deep interest in, actually.
I mean, it's basically Inception at this point, and I.
No, actually, it is actually a Buddhist idea
Of reliving the same day over and over.
Yes, samsara.
Wait, that's.
Samsara.
Wait.
That's exactly what this is.
Wait, samsara is living the same day over and over?
Samsara is living the same cycle.
Does that play into karma and such?
Samsara is the cycle of death and rebirth.
Uh-huh.
That's exactly what it is. You are cycling through each time until you decide that what you are doing is not actually doing anything.
Duo ask how is Shady.
Shady is fine. Samsara, until you break out of that samsara, you're going to keep repeating that samsara.
Ah.
It's the Buddhist principle of life and rebirth.
I've only heard that term once, but I never actually understood what it was.
And mind you, even with me being, an atheistic Buddhist, I actually do still believe in samsara. I just believe in it on a more mental level. We are going to have, until we learn from the thoughts that we have, we are going to keep having the same thoughts over and over.
Agreed.
We must learn, and thus break out of the samsara. In order for us to move forward, we must break the samsara.
That makes sense as to how the event was seen as samsara temple, although that was used more for yoga, I guess, as a buzzword than anything else.
It's, in my opinion, it's why we go to war so often, because we are stuck in the samsara where we do not want to go for peace.
Our Sunday school class gathered for finger food after church Sunday night. The family's house we went to had a husky mix I didn't get to see. Aww.
Aw, cute.
But they had a cute fluffy cat. I never knew what the samsara meant because it was used for a buzzword for a yoga temple. I was like, okay, well now knowing what that is. Huh.
So, as its base definition in the dictionary, it is the cycle of death and rebirth to which life in the material world is bound. But again, in my opinion, samsara...
It's up to me to decide who I want to be, and to cut my own path.
Shush.
No one can tell me what
Stop.
to do.
In my opinion, what Buddha meant by samsara is the death and rebirth of ideas.
Oh.
Like, such as, like, the idea that if we do not learn from the past, if we do not break the samsara, we're going to repeat that. We're going to keep repeating it.
Okay.
Which I hope to God we have learned from the past of, like, you know, World War II and genocide.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You would think, and then you have what's going on in
You would
Palestine.
think, yeah. I would hope so anyway, but yeah, no, I agree.
Sadly, conservatives refuse to actually understand that very simple principle that if you keep going with the same thoughts over and over, that is not going to change anything. The definition of insanity is trying to do the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
That insanity.
Yes. That is the definition of insanity, and that is, by and large, the definition I'm also using for samsara, on an atheistic Buddhist level of the death and rebirth of ideas and thoughts. Like, in my opinion, and it's a very scary thought to have, if we do not learn from what happened in World War II, eventually another Hitler will be born.
Yeah, that is also a scary thought I've had.
It is a scary thought, but it is also having an understanding that I am not literally saying that Hitler is going to be born. I'm saying that
there is a chance that it could happen.
I'm saying that the ideas that he spread, such as Nazism, are already being reborn because we did not learn from them.
Right. Which, yeah, I agree. That is a very realistic but scary thought.
Those that have broken out of the samsara are trying to fight against the fascist bigotry that led to Nazism.
Ah. No, I agree. Like it's definitely a scary thought if we don't break out our own cycle.
Oh, you want to know what's really funny? The Matrix was a giant samsara from beginning to end. It is somebody breaking out of the samsara and trying to get everybody else out of it.
Yeah, I guess so. Although technically that got into like humans were harvested for organs and something.
Which, by the way, the sad bit is eventually we will have that.
What, the Matrix?
We will have humans being harvested for their organs.
Oh yeah.
Because we're going to have clones. Eventually.
Yeah.
And at that point, we now must come with the ethical discussion of, are clones sentient, or are they just flesh robots?
As long as they don't start displaying any kind of like actual thought or emotions and are just kept as parts, then that's still kind of weird.
Okay,
but
in that case, somebody who's in a coma is no longer a person.
I was talking about lab grown from the beginning versus someone who became...
No, but my point is like, at what point do we consider the thing human and that what we are doing is torture? Would that clone feel pain?
The problem is, it depends. I don't know how we even go about making a per clone is the problem.
I mean, we already have cloning. Again, there are a lot of ethical questions in terms of cloning. Should we do it? I don't know. I think that rather than cloning, I think we should go down the route of 3D printing.
Right, which I think that would be easier. You can just make a part and like, okay, here's a part. Just swap it out. But I'd like that to be a little more affordable, of course. But affordable is a big word, isn't it?
But yeah, nah, it's just
That would have different questions
no. I
altogether.
think I'm coming down from my high.
Ah,
But yeah, no. The basic idea of the samsara is the cycle of life and death. And whether you take that as to mean literal, like some Buddhists do literally mean the cycle of rebirth and death. Or
I don't think it's literal.
No, I'm saying like there are Buddhists who take that literally. That you are literally reborn.
I think it's metaphorical, if anything.
I agree. I believe that it is a philosophical argument of... It is a philosophical argument of the death and rebirth of ideas. And I think that makes a lot more sense. Like, I think a good example is bigotry. Bigotry, let's say... in my opinion, bigotry towards gay people is the same bigotry that was towards women, the same bigotry that was towards black people, the same bigotry that was put towards literally any other minority. Because bigotry are ideas that die and then come back. Because sadly, we live in a society where those ideas are actively spread, and that there are people who think that they are a good thing.
True. Also, I'm probably going to pause as soon as I can so I can go transfer your drawing stuff because I would like to do that before I go to bed myself.
By the way, I just realized this entire stream, I have done nothing in-game.
I think people have just been tuning in to hear us talk. That's fine. I
know. I just even Henry brought up like, what are we doing? I'm like, I literally have no idea what I'm doing right now. I don't know why you wanted to join. I'm literally doing nothing.
I'm happy to hang out now and again. But yeah, no, I'm probably gonna hop off here so I can start.
What do you? Let's see what you pull.
Just a sword.
Ooh.
But thank you for joining us, everyone. Hold on.
How far did you get?
Actually quite far.
Oh, you unlocked the final boss yet?
Yeah. No, I'm still trying. I'm gonna keep skipping the conversation, honestly.
No, I would say like actually I think my thing with this in this stream is effectively a what was that the sand drawing called again?
The sand mandalas, yeah.
Yeah, I would say that what I did, like what you did, actually have meaning. What I did was just a sand mandala. It is something. It is the most basic form of something that then meant nothing.
Yeah, that's true. But no, but I do want to hop off here so I can
It is a technological sand mandala.
Like that. No, but I want to hop here. I'm gonna work on drawing stuff, editing stuff, and then tomorrow I have to get my car. So I do have to at some point pause and get ready for bed at some point. Thank you all for joining us. I'm gonna keep speeding through this as fast as I can.
We went for about 2 hours.
Yeah.
All right,
but thank you all. I'm gonna hop off for here, and then I gotta get ready for tomorrow. Eventually,
get the car.